Okay, well, good morning, ninth graders. I hope you all are doing well. Today we are on 10.2, and this time we are on part 2 of our lesson from last time. So I'm going to do a little bit of review. This is on page 411. I would greatly advise turning to that page and following along. So one of the things we talked about from this lesson before was factoring polynomials. So we have x squared, this is an example problem, minus 9x plus 20. Okay, now in this kind of problem, we are factoring into two little binomials here. So this is binomial factoring. So remember, all we do for the x here is we take it and put it in x and x, because x times x is going to give us x squared. So we know that. We got that in our mind. Then we look at this number. What over here times, this is the product, right? So what times what is going to give us 20? And then we look at the sign of that product, and it's a positive, okay? And remember what a positive means? It means the signs are the same. Okay, now that the signs are the same, I know it's either going to be plus, plus, or it's going to be minus, minus. And I don't know which one yet, but I will know in a second. Because then I look at this sign, and when that sign is a negative, okay, that means that, and this sign is a positive, it means that both are negative. So I know that I can do x minus and x minus, right? Because I'm going to add the two together and get a bigger negative number. So now I come over here to the 20 and say, what is the 20? Well, it could be 2 and 10, 5 and 2. Okay, so I could say it could be 5 times these two guys multiplied. So that's 5 times 4 is an option, right? 5 times 4 is an option, and 10 times 2 is an option. Now, do any of those combined, does the 10 and the 2, does that equal a 9? No, I can't get a 9 from 10 and 2, but I can from this 5 and this 4. And so what I'm going to use 5 and 4, and guess what? It doesn't matter because the signs are the same. So I just put 4 in one, 5 in the other, and there is my final answer. Okay, so that's some review. If you need to watch that again, I'm going to do another one real quickly. So if you need to pause the video, go ahead and do so. But another one for good example is this right here. Let's do, we have a squared minus 4a plus 3. Okay, now this one's very similar to the other one. Look at this. The sign here is positive. The sign here is negative. What that means is they're both going to be negative. Okay, when you have that, when you have a negative sign, then a positive sign, you know they're both going to be negative. You know that a is going to be in the front of both. So now we say, what times what is 3? Well, that's really easy. There's only one option, 3 times 1. And they're both the same, so it doesn't matter. There's my final answer. Okay, let's do one that's a little different now. If you need to pause that, go for it. Let's do this one right here. What if we have a squared plus a minus 20? Okay, now this is very similar to the other problem, right? We have a 20 at the end, but this time it's going to be a little different, okay? We know we're going to have a and a. That's easy. That comes from a squared. But now let's look at the sign. What is our sign? It's negative, which means one will be positive. Okay, that automatically means one positive, one negative. So I can go ahead and fill in one negative, one positive. Doesn't matter which one is which. Now, I need to figure out what times what is 20. Okay, again, I have 2 times 10, and I have 4 times 5. But I have to be left with something that's giving me a plus 1a. Well, obviously 2 and 10, that's not going to give me a 1. But 4 and 5 will, because 4 minus 5 is 1. So the question is, which one needs to be bigger? Which one needs to have the positive sign in front of it? Well, it's going to be a positive here, so I need to make the bigger one have the positive here. So I have a plus 5, a minus 4. Okay, that's all review. So now we're going to say, now we're going to take this a step further. Okay, so you need to pause that, go for it. Here now is where this lesson gets significantly more complex. Let's say we have this right here. This is on page 411. So I would follow along. This is example number 5, okay? And this is what they give us. They give us 2a squared minus 64a minus 288. Now we're gonna, before we even try and do our factoring that looks like this, we have to realize that this number has a 2 in front of it. So now we need to say, how can we get that 2 away from there before we ever do our binomial factoring? So what we need to do is divide each one of these by 2. Is that possible? Yes, because they're all even. So I divide by 2, and I'm left with a squared, right? 2 divided by 2 is 1, so I have 1a squared. 64 divided by 2, 64 divided by 2 equals 32, so I have minus 32a. And then what? 288 divided by 2 is 144, so I get minus 144. Now I have a new problem, right? Now, instead of trying to factor this guy up here, I'm now trying to factor this guy in the parentheses, and I'll leave the 2 right where it's at, okay? It's not hurting anybody, not causing any harm. So now I take my numbers, and I do my factoring. Now I'm going to end with something like this. It's going to have a 2 on the outside, but it's going to have that. And I know the first one's going to be a, and the second one's going to be a, based on that a squared. It's pretty easy. I think everybody's tracking with me so far. Now I have to say, 144, and it's negative. Now what does the negative mean? At the end, it means one will be positive and one will be negative. Now which one's going to be bigger? Well, I know which one's going to be bigger. The negative one's going to be bigger because that sign is negative. So that leaves me 1. So this number right here is going to be the bigger one, okay, because it is matching that negative sign. So that leaves me now the hard part. I have 144 left, and I got to figure out what times what is going to do those combinations, okay? And I need a sum, okay? When they add together, they have to equal what? 32, okay? So I start listing out my possibilities here for 44. What times what could be 44? Well, I could have 1 times 44 times 144, but that is not going to add, well, that's going to be 143 or 145, okay? So, not cool. Let's say that I tried 2 and 144. Oh, that's not going to work out because it's not 144. If you divide that by 2, you get 72. And 2 and 72 is 74 or 70. So that's not helpful. So now let's try dividing by 3. Okay, so let's try 3. And 144 divided by 3 is 48. Okay, and that is going to either give me 45 or 51. So not helpful. So let's try 4. 144 divided by 4 is 36. Ooh. That's convenient because look at this. I'm going to have 36 is going to be the minus, and I'm going to add 4 to that, and I'm going to get 32. Am I negative 32? That's what I'm trying to get. So all I do now is say 36, you're going in the bigger one. 4, you're going in the smaller one. And there is my answer. Okay, so this down here circled in the green turns out to be my final answer. Okay, I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to give you the homework. So when you factor, you just got to make sure you take out whatever you can on all of these. Okay, it's going to be some trial and error. Most of them are going to be pretty straightforward in the homework, so that's the good part. Only other thing we need to go over for the homework is next example. So this is page 411, and this is example 6. So please follow along. Example 6. Okay, and what they give us here is they give us x squared plus 11xy, whoa, we have another variable, plus 24y squared. Now you can see here, this is an x and this is a y, so there's a variable, and here is the combination of the variables. So, really, we do the same thing we've been doing, but we actually just add a y that we did not have before. So, I do the factoring the same way. I have x, but this time, if there's a y at the end, I just put y. X and y. That's all I do. Okay, so whatever variable is second, and it's second here, so this guy and this guy, they go here and here. This guy and this guy go here and here. Okay, so it's the same thing. You guys got it. I believe in your ability to do that. So we have x something, y something. Now let's look at the signs. They're both, this is positive and this is positive. When we have two positives, that equals both positive. So I can come down here and write plus, plus. So now that leaves me with one final step, and that is to see what I need to do with this with this 24 right here. I say, what times what is 24? I have 6 and 4. I have 3 and 8. I have 2 and 12. I have 1 and 24. Now, what should these subtracted? Well, it's not subtracted in this case. It's addition because we have 2 pluses. Which one of these added together is going to equal 11? Okay, that one equals 10. So that doesn't quite work. This one, though, 8 and 3 equals 11. This one equals 14, too big, and 25. So I know that I need a 3 and 8. Now, again, the order doesn't matter because it's both positive. So one of these is going to be 8y, and one of this is going to be 3y. So I solve it the exact same way as I solved the other one, except for I add a y at the end. And then if I multiply this out, I would get the same answer. I get x squared plus 11xy plus 24y squared. Okay? So that is the only addition that we're doing in our lesson. So it's the same lesson, same idea. If you need to pause that video, go ahead. Here is the homework for today. This is on page 412. This is 10.2. And we are going to be doing numbers 21 through 29 all, and then 34 and 35. Okay, there you go. There's your homework. I hope it makes sense. If not, please send me an email. I know some of you have been doing that, and it's been helpful. So if you have any questions, let me know. And that is our video for Thursday. Okay, Mr. H is over and out.